Focus on the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in at January 21st, 2022, and the stock market is crashing. That may sound dramatic, but this is the closest that we have been to any real volatility in a very, very long time. So I don't know where to start. There was a lot of different things. I mean, first things first, Netflix earnings was absolutely awful. The guidance was bad, and this is really going to give a lot of sour mood towards earnings until we get a surprise. So that's one thing, but let me take you through what happened here today step by step. So if you remember yesterday, wicked close again, and it really played out almost the same way today. And this is one of the things that has many people worried. These late day just sell off right at the close. I mean, this happens in a lot less favorable markets, so this is not good. But the fact that we kind of gapped up and didn't end up selling lower, or that you didn't get a freak out overseas, that was kind of positive, because this is a key level. If we drop below 450, I mean, look what happened. But in the morning, the fact we didn't drop lower, that was positive. There was a bad jobless claims data, and those went back up to a 3-month high. And why that's negative, all the analysts are saying that it pretty much increases the odds of a more negative employment effect from Omicron. That's what the data is showing. So that was negative. We kind of moved around a little bit, but then right at open, we started gassing. And then overseas, this is kind of what gave us some of the energy. China stocks had a really, really good day. The Hang Seng was up about 3%. One of the biggest days, even for the Golden Dragon Index. All of the China stocks did very well. So that was positive. And then the fact things started going up, every single industry throughout the day was doing good. I mean, everybody was kind of excited. They were saying, all right, or people were thinking that the correction was over for the most part, but we kept talking about the paranoia. And then sure enough, as the day went on, this is where it started piling on. So right here, before things started hitting VWAP, we had news that Peloton was halting production because of demand issues. They fell below their IPO price, and a lot of even similar stocks like Affirm or anything else, they also started getting clapped. And then right around here, there was 3 different things that happened. One, there was news that we are sending weapons, and allies are sending U.S. weapons to Ukraine to defend themselves. So there's more escalation there. Then there was a news about the decision for the Fed's digital dollar, or the digital coin they want to do, the stable coin. And then finally, there was another advancement on the antitrust bill. Literally, this happened all within the same couple of minutes, and then everything started to sell off just like yesterday. So, oh wait, did I mention the dagger Netflix too? Yeah. It was very, very bad. There was a lot of things that happened, and the amount of historical facts you could drop right now, this is the worst start for the NASDAQ in small cap since 2009. Even this top to bottom move, you literally went positive 2% to down 1.3 on the NASDAQ. This has only happened a handful of times. One of the other times was either yesterday, then the other time on January 6th or 7th. If you remember, we were down 2% and then ended up going higher. But then other than that, you only saw it about 3 or 4 times in 2019, and then 2020 had a lot because of Corona. But other than that, this is a very rare occurrence to see. So we talked about this on stream. I got to jump to the first pretty picture here. The one thing that is happening, and that's why every move forward from here is going to be so crucial. We are hitting new lows, but you are hitting new highs in terms of the range. So this is just a couple of days ago. You were talking top to bottom 5% moves, and then a couple weeks prior to that, another 4 point something, and then another 2 weeks before that, another 5% move as well. And what this is showing you is real big volatility, and that's why the catalysts and events we got for the rest of the week and next week, it is going to be crucial. But the market is definitely reacting to something. So I had to shotgun all of that information so you could get it quick. There is a lot of things we need to talk about here. Tomorrow will be very exciting, and we got to talk about a lot of plays, especially with my positioning. I got caught with my pants down in a lot of areas for pre-earnings, so now thankfully we have some catalysts, but how we move forward from here, we're going to have to do a little bit of work. So I'm excited for the opportunities, and I got a couple of plays and just the portfolio that we're going to need to go over. And then I also have a lot of plays for tomorrow, mainly the earnings continuations, and what you're going to see. It should be exciting. So I hope you're ready, but drop your thumbs up on the video if you find it helpful. And again, man, shout out to all the chads holding it down. God bless you. Thank you for supporting, but make sure you stay in the game. Again, do not be afraid to take it slow. And I'm telling you now, this is early for both going down even more or even coming up. If these ranges don't highlight the opportunity, I don't know what does, but you are probably about to get a way different market than you've seen. So stay nimble and stay in the game. But, oh yeah, and we better see you on stream, youtube.com/thestockmarket live 30 minutes before open. Yeah, I don't know why I said it like that, but today was real panic. The Netflix earnings, you're gonna see the reaction tomorrow, but unfortunately, that is most likely going to sour the mood about earnings until somebody can surprise. So I was a little bit more hopeful, but just seeing how Netflix did that bad, the company did try to defend it. So even though they missed, the company's attitude towards it was actually quite positive. But this is not a good sign because you already see how paranoid and now sketched out the market really is. Until we get an earnings surprise, this may be one of those earnings seasons where it turns into good beat, or maybe right at the cusp, and the market may still sell everything. We did see that a couple months ago, so be careful of that and keep that in mind. And that's why we're saying the earnings continuations is probably where we're going to make our money, or at least be able to get a good footing now during the midst of all of this. But until we get any good earnings, this is going to make it a bumpy road. You are going to get Powell as the next catalyst next week, not to mention Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, all of the big companies. Those earnings will be key, but right now the most important thing, especially if we go lower, or depending if Powell doesn't do this, essentially if Powell is not successful next Wednesday, we may see a whole new regime of prices, and we could even go a little bit lower. He may even confirm something hawkish, but even on the bullish end, he will be the next big catalyst simply because he can walk back all of this. I mean, it's easier said than done because of the situation with inflation, but in 2018, when the market started acting like this and we started hitting big lows after Powell was getting really hawkish with the balance sheet and all that, he did come on and ended up walking it back and delayed the plan. So depending on if he does that, it looks like some market participants are starting to bet on it, but it's too early to tell and it's too close to the event in general. So Wednesday will be key, but now with everything we're getting, just be cautious. You're seeing what's happening. Anything can really go on. So we already covered the first pretty picture, but coming to the second one, this is one thing I want to highlight today. This is the China stocks. This is one of their best days here over the last 12 months. Remember, a couple weeks ago, we saw some big gains, so it's starting to do this China stock leading, and that has added a lot of positivity to the market, but keep your eye out for them because if we see risk off everywhere, or if these stocks were not up today would have been a lot uglier. So keep that in mind. Watch those industries, but now understand with everything we got going on, especially during volatility and high correlations, some of the global news may start hitting harder. So keep your eye out for that. But as far as tomorrow, don't forget it is a big options expiration. It is not a quad witching, but I have a lot of plays that I bought for January 21st, whether I got them recently or even last year. There's a lot of money at these strikes or at this expiration. So pretty much after tomorrow, there's probably going to be big moves leading into all of the different events and catalysts that we have from earnings to Powell. So keep your eye out for this. We should probably expect a volatile day tomorrow. But like I said today, man, all bets are off. You are going to be taking a lot of risk no matter what end you are until this kind of gets smoothed out. These are very real volatile markets. And what you saw today, in my opinion, I think it is real fear until we get a really good catalyst. So a lot of people are already talking talking about this essentially, and especially after Powell, if that gets worse or the earnings, if we get more 20% earnings drops from big tech, I mean, it's really turning into no more fear of missing out, but more so fear of bag holding, and you could kind of see that with a lot of market participants right now. So, moral of the story, there's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of stuff going on. You better be on stream so you don't miss any of it, but on top of it, tomorrow is an exciting day, and how we close out the week and start next week, I mean, these next 4 to 7 trading days should probably be epic, and I mean, you're gonna remember them, baby, so I hope you're ready. But coming into the company news and events, pretty straightforward. We went over the first one here. I mean, I thought this was kind of a start to all of these little catalysts, but Peloton, they have plummeted below their IPO price on a report that they are halting their production over slow demand. So remember their last earnings, they already guided down and said a lot of stuff. I mean, they are absolutely in a wild position, but to the point of stopping almost all of their production because of slowdowns in demand. I mean, they were just struggling with getting production and pricing and all of this. So this had an effect. It brought the stock down, but this is kind of one of the little bubbles bursting there. You saw this high flyer go from $20 to almost $200, and now it is back below that IPO. So this is the big fear with all of the big tech. So let's see what happens. But there was that, and then Janet Yellen, after hours, she said that she still hopes U.S. inflation gets back to 2% by the year end. She didn't say she hopes for it, but she pretty much really believes that that's going to happen. She said by the end of the year. She did mention some specific wording on year-over-year gains, but for the most part, she is kind of dovish in that sense. We'll see if anything changes. And then coming into oil, Morgan Stanley, they have upped their price target on Brent crude from $90 to $100, and they're pretty much saying everything going on with supply and the recent trends of things. And then finally, Wells Fargo, pretty good news. They have gotten a 2015 regulatory order lifted. This is now their second or third disciplinary action that they've gotten removed in the last few years under this new CEO. So that was very good. This order came in before their whole ghost account thing in 2016, but overall positive. I would keep a watch on them. Again, banks, they were leading down at first today, but then they kind of held up a little bit better, so watch out for that. But other than the Russia news and us sending weapons, there wasn't really anything too crazy. We got to hear a little bit on some of the politics side and more Build Back Better and stuff like that, but right now it seems people are focused on what's going on with the markets, what's going on with inflation, or really what's the Fed going to do about the markets and inflation. And now it seems like Jerome Powell is going to have to decide who his favorite child is. So I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 3 different stocks that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow. I have a lot of open plays, but honestly, the Microsofts, Nvidia, Amazon, even the one yesterday, they're all getting clapped right now, and I'm almost starting to write them off. I mean, that's why I'm saying we are going to be operating from a little bit different of a position, a lot different, but it is unfortunate for that timing. Thankfully, they have a little bit of time, but like I'm saying, there's going to be a lot of volatility. I'm going to keep my eye out to see if we could limit damage if there is any bounces, or at the very least, all it takes is one earnings surprise or the Powell pivot, but I don't want to go about betting on that. So really, my real strategy tomorrow, once we get confirmation, the goal should be to not get our money back, but get us in a better position here as we get into the next quarter to follow up with earnings and anything else. So one of the big things I'm going to be eyeing tomorrow, it is very, very simple. It is going to be the Netflix and Disney. So I made a play on Disney at close. That one got clapped because Disney was a sympathy to Netflix and was losing there, but essentially both of these names, especially Netflix, I am going to be focusing on this a lot tomorrow. And why? Because there's a lot of risk. We're going over the puts and calls. I mean, we could look at the premiums all day and you can see it is a very tricky position right now to get protection. But what I'm telling you, if you're going to take the risk to play anything, I might as well go for the one with earnings where we have a little bit more confirmation and there's going to be a chance of just individual movement on the stock that'll probably be big compounded with the rest of the market. So I have this at the end right here, but this is definitely going to be the priority tomorrow. Again, they're both going to have a lot of volatility post earnings. So So I'm going to look for some Friday trades. We will even get some time. I did make a February call for Disney out of the money. I got the 185s. I put like $1,500 on them. So we'll see how those hold up. They're probably going to get clapped with a lot of other things there, but I am a little bit hopeful for Disney, just in the sense that they're in a different position than Netflix. But the fact Netflix dropped 21%, I mean, it even brought Disney down 5. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity there tomorrow. I think post earnings, even if you want to look at Morgan Stanley, just like today, Goldman, or any of the other ones that reported, all of those will be in play. And honestly, they may just be a little bit better than trying to time any of the other plays. So watch out for that. That is the first play. Coming into the second play, Boeing, I still like the puts. And now the puts that we got yesterday, they went up 45%. So essentially, remember yesterday, we only made 20%. Then today, when the market was up, they went down 15%. And then by the peak of this here at the bottom, they have gone back up to 45%. So pretty much from the last 2 days, you can see it took a lot of volatility. You would have to ride it out, but there was a 40% opportunity to make money on that put. So I'm still not the biggest fan of it, but I still do like the Boeing puts. They're willing to move. Those weeklies went up. I really think the next week's on Boeing. That's what I'm going to be eyeing tomorrow. I think they will fluctuate a lot, but I need a bounce. And the thing I'm worried about, Boeing has still been a defensive name, so they may fight a little bit harder. So watch out for that. And then finally, Baba and JD. So why I like this play, or both of them, I have a play on Baba. And remember, I got those plays not too long ago. Surprisingly, I say surprisingly, I mean, you see the market, it's not as if Baba even moved too crazy, but the puts are down 30%. So we've seen that a lot with Alibaba. And like you saw today, this was their second biggest day over the year, or over even the last like 2 or 3 weeks there. So I think they have a lot of meat on the bone, but we'll see if it turns into full risk off. Essentially, full risk off, that would involve everybody. So going to be eyeing those. And like I said, the puts are already down, so we will see what happens. But those are the main plays. As far as everything else, I did an Alcoa play in the morning. I grabbed one of the Marches, and then we did a weekly. As far as the March play, I grabbed 5 of the 90 calls for about 35 cents each. Try to keep it a little bit smaller. They kind of went down there, and then I waited until the weeklies dropped, and then we made a flip on this one. Grabbed the 66 calls at like 45 cents, flipped them out at 70 there for about like 50 or 60%. But pay attention, this one was a post-earnings play, so we did get clapped on the UNH. You saw those kind of come back, and then even Morgan Stanley from yesterday, if you remember that clapping, and this is what I want you to kind of think about. This play we're actually able to sell out of, and it went up as high as like 400 or 500% at one point. Remember, we got these in the morning at like 15 or 16 cents, then they dropped and they were down there. They went up today. I sold out around 26 cents. I was super early on it. Again, this is a shorter term contract. You've even seen some of those Roblos, but again, don't forget, this is a pre-earnings. I sold out of that one, but you can see it here with this play, even the Alcoa. Some of the first plays that we got in the morning with time, those are a little bit harder. And now just apply this to Disney and Netflix tomorrow. You will get some of these opportunities where some of the shorter terms, after the first couple moves, you may really watch the premium go in a direction, and we could get some frogs. So these were the only other plays that I made. Going to be watching kind of for the similar setup there with Netflix, but watch out for that. As far as everything else, I'm going to be watching Netflix again. Apple, they've held up pretty good, and just don't forget, they've been the safe haven, but now it's coming back to this point. So the puts and calls on there are going to be a little interesting. Even put protection, you might be able to get some cheap weeklies, but watching them, even Microsoft was up another 2 point something today and came down. So similar logic. We did look at the puts throughout the day. They weren't too bad, but then they did go crazy. So watch out for that. Watch Alcoa for a secondary move. Again, that was good earnings. Even Morgan Stanley, maybe see if they come down tomorrow, but they did lead very, very well. I mean, they gave a lot of support to the bank stocks today, so watch out for that. And then oil, again, we cut out all of our plays. There's a lot of talk about it. Watch where it plays out from here. Again, if we do get risk off everything, it may very well affect commodities. So we'll see what happens. And then again with the Disney, this is a ridiculous sympathy play. Again, 5% move. It highlights the scope there of Netflix, but going to be keeping an eye out for them. Baba and the other China stocks. I had Amazon up there. Again, I'm down 20%, $1,000 on that play from yesterday. So still going to be riding that one out there. Again, I'm going to be hopeful for earnings or that it doesn't get killed too much, but watch out for them. Any of the China plays. Surprisingly, Airbnb closed green today. It was up a lot more, and they did announce some new plans. So take this one with a grain of of salt. I mean, I think we'll really see tomorrow if they do show a little bit more strength. That could be good. I mean, same thing with Roblo. They were up and then turned down. That other weekly is now down 50% as well, too. Watch Wells Fargo. Again, any of the banks, remember, they were a good one, but if we do start seeing risk off, I would be looking at some of those. And then Ford, this is now its worst two-day move, I think, since April 2021. I think this move right here, if you guys kind of remember that, you can see Ford doesn't really move like this. So last 2 days has gotten rid of it, and now it's, again, starting to hit retail a little bit harder. So watch out for that one right there. Going to be watching that. And then Boeing, like we said, I still like it. It held up very nice throughout the day and then randomly flushed, but I really just like the shorter-term premiums on here. So keep your eye out for that one tomorrow. Then RSX, you can't even watch YNDX, but essentially, I didn't think the Ukraine news would affect us too much, but I do think it would affect Russia more specifically. So watch out for some of those plays. The premiums are jacked and they are very illiquid, so be careful for that. And then AMD, this has been the worst week for chips since March 2020. So watch these both downside and upside, but this is clearly a very big breaking point, and we'll see what opportunity comes from there. And then finally, coming into TLT, it is chilling out, but what's end up happening now? Remember, short-term rate expectations are high. If this starts to come back down, it's flattening the curve, but it's not giving us a signal. And this is really why I said today was really just a lot of fear at certain levels, because China did good, the rest of the world, and really you had a lot of stability here with the dollar. I mean, the dollar ended up going up throughout the day. I don't know why it's saying that it moved unchanged, but it wasn't. But this was very stable. Of the bonds kind of going up, this was yield curve flattening, but it wasn't as bad as the inflation one. Again, pretty much top and bottom of TLT, this is literally the battle that Powell is going to be fighting. That's why this is such a wild move right now, because if Powell's going to pivot or not, if Powell pivots, you're talking policy error, inflation, TLT starts moving back up, people start signaling, okay, no, they're going to lose control of inflation. If the yields start to shoot back up and then TLT goes down, then that's just going to say, okay, well, that means prices are going out of control globally everywhere else. So it is a very big battle, and that's what this TLT chart is showing you. This is the tightrope that Jerome Powell is going to have to walk, so we'll see what happens. But right now, all eyes are on U.S. stocks, any of the earnings, and Powell. We'll see if we get a snitch from any of this, but now it looks like things are more or less moving with each other than kind of doing their own thing. But once we get the divergence, we should get the move, but hopefully you realize there is big catalyst right around the corner, so I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need your armor, baby. Shout out to all the commitment. I love you, but the call loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.